It's that time again. How's everybody doing? I am with you here. It's 8:05 in the AM here in Central Time, sipping on a little decaf and enjoying my morning. So I am stopping in and just saying hello. Want to do a Tao of the day with you. So if you have a number between 1 and 81 you want to shout out, why don't you jump up and then we'll talk about your Tao for the day. The Tao is the Tao Te Ching, and the Tao Te Ching is 81 verses of ancient text that translates to the canon of reason. This is where we can start living a more reasonable life. We can stop asking people to do what we want them to do and start accepting responsibility for the things that we do. Accept responsibility for the fact that we are here present in this moment and we can be in control of how we react because we cannot be in control of what's going on around us. Catherine, my buddy, it is still early, but you are waking up early these days. I hope you're all right, dear. Did you go away? My guest has left the talk. Catherine. Was it because I was asking if you were okay? I hope all is well. Sending you my love, dear. Hope you are doing well. All right, so here we go. And one, two, oh, Nafissa. I believe that's right. Nafisa or Nafissa? I think it's Nafisa. Nafisa,
Hello, Martin John.
how are you, dear?
Nafisa, I'm doing
Nafisa.
well. How are you?
Yes, yes, I am doing well. I got it right. Nafisa,
Yes, you did. Well done, by the way.
yes. How is everything at the homestead today?
Oh, going well, going well.
I'm glad. I'm glad. That's
One step
wonderful
at a
to hear.
time.
Yes, that's right. One step at a time. And now
Mm-hmm.
we can be present with what is.
Exactly.
So, do you have a number for me today?
No, I'm just getting to hear about the Tower of the Day. Is it just a random number or how does it work?
Yes, a number between 1 and 81.
Okay. I'll say 20.
20?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 20. So here's what we do. You just picked a verse from the Tao Te Ching, and then we are going to run through it.
Mhm.
I'll read it all one time, and then we'll go through it line by line.
Okay.
Okay, so it starts by saying, stop thinking and end your problems. What's the difference between yes and no? What's the difference between success and failure? Must you value what other people's value and avoid what other people's avoid? How ridiculous. Other people are excited as though they are at a parade. I alone don't care. I alone am expressionless, like an infant before it can smile. Other people have what they need. I alone possess nothing. I alone drift about like someone without a home. I am like an idiot. My mind is so empty. Other people are bright. I alone am dark. Other people sharp. I alone am dull. Other people have purpose. I alone don't know. I drift like a wave in the ocean. I blow as aimless as the wind. I am different from ordinary people. I drink from the great mother's breast. That's a lot. What are your
Mm.
first thoughts?
Oh, my first thoughts, oh my goodness. Okay. Is that none of us has it figured out.
That's right.
Yeah, so we are all on this path of discovery.
Yeah.
And from what I hear is that the person who feels they don't have it figured out can be really difficult on themselves and may feel like other people know better than them. So they place them on a pedestal, they place them higher than themselves. And of
Mm.
course, this can be very biased because, well, it may be based on, of course, my own way or my own recent thoughts. So yeah, we can place other people on a very high pedestal, and then in the process, we're really hard on ourselves. We don't see the need to speak up for what it is that hurts us or what it is that we are going through. So we gaslight ourselves in the process, and we bring down ourselves even further because we think that everybody else has it figured out except us. But then the more we practice compassion with ourselves, the more we go on that path of purpose and seeing the occurrence of common human suffering, then we start to be kinder with ourselves. We start to speak up. We start to speak our truths. We start to own our stories and
Yeah,
take
and
up.
I think what you're getting at
Mm,
is this concept of like we're we don't have expectations for
we don't
ourselves
have
or
expect.
others.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think this one really does hone in on that quite a bit.
Mm,
So we're going to go through this line by line now, and it starts with this beautiful line that I wish I can use this more in life, but people wouldn't understand where it's coming from. But it starts with "Stop thinking and end your problems."
mm, okay.
What are your thoughts there? How do you take that line?
What I see about it is we have the thinking mind, we have the logical mind, and moving from the thinking mind is all about control, and ending your problems is all about letting go of control. This is how I
Beautiful,
see it.
absolutely, right? Like you want to think because you want to predict the future, you want to change the
Mm-hmm.
past, you want to do all of these things. But if you can just stop thinking, and your problems, and that's just like that could probably be like the total
Mm,
of this entire thing probably. But let's go through and see what else it says.
okay.
What difference between yes and no? What difference between success and failure?
Difference between yes and no, difference between success and failure. Um,
And then
one,
it continues because what it's saying there, I think,
yeah.
is that it's like there is no difference between yes and no or success and failure.
Mm,
What
yeah.
must you value what others value and avoid what others avoid? How
Ooh,
ridiculous,
those are
right?
connected. Yes.
Yes. So like this idea that like we want a yes because we want something, but like having it and not having it are so
Mm,
similar.
yes.
It's just the way your mind works, right? Because we started
Mm-hmm.
with stop thinking and end your problems. What's the
Yeah.
difference between yes and no? The way you think about it. What's the difference between success and failure? The way you think about it. Must you think about things as being valuable in the same way others do?
Mm.
How ridiculous, right? Like
Ooh,
like such a ridiculous idea because
yeah.
it's you right here, right now.
Hmm. There is no right or wrong. There's really about, I was talking about this with someone earlier about creating positive change. It's all about intentionality rather than expectations. So, when, for example, I come to this space with you, there's a high chance that with expectations, I come with an expectation of how this conversation should go, and that can lead to a lot of clashes and conflict. But if I were to come and listen to you and say, okay, so I see where you're coming from now, I see the way you communicate, and let's come out of this space feeling better, feeling like both of us have won, then maybe more positive change can be made, maybe more connections can be made over time, because that's what we all crave. We all crave love and connection. So I see a big difference between being intentional about conversations and connections, more than expectations. Yeah.
Hmm. Absolutely, and I agree with that. And I think that that falls right in line with what's being said here.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
And then
right
we
on
go
point.
we we go into these next two sections, and it's about looking outward and seeing others. So what it says here is other people are excited as though they were at a parade. I alone don't care. I alone am expressionless, like an infant before it can smile. Other people have what they need. I alone possess nothing. I alone
Mm,
drift about like someone without a home. I am like an idiot. My mind is so empty. And I think that speaks so much to what you're saying. I want to approach this conversation. I want to be here present with whatever this moment has to give me without expectation. This is other people are excited. I'm excited to receive. I'm excited to have. I'm excited to get. I'm excited to all of these things that are starting from my thoughts.
Mm.
But when I can approach and not care, if I approach this talk without caring about it, without having expectations, and just being present here
Mm.
for what it has to offer me at this moment, without caring if it's good or bad, right or
Mm.
wrong,
Yeah.
if it's going to add or take away, if it's positive or negative, I am just able to be here,
Mm.
expressionless, present.
That's beautiful and profound.
And I think that's really what you were saying with the idea of
Yes.
like, I can approach this. I can be here present
Mhm.
without expectation.
Yeah.
So many people, there's a line in here, like it's right here, as though they were at a parade. I love that. I
Mm.
love that image, right? Like
Yeah.
other people are excited as though they're at a parade. People get so excited about things and they tell me about what they're watching on TV and all these things. And I'm just like, I don't, I, I don't care about those things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's so okay to not care. I had this breakdown moment in Cincinnati. I was in Cincinnati with a friend and she was looking at all the architecture and she was excited and I was excited for her, but I wasn't excited about the architecture and I wasn't excited about all the things that she was excited about. I was excited that she was excited. I was happy for her. But she was just like, "Oh, and she poked fun at me just a little bit because she felt a
Mm.
little uncomfortable that I was, expressionless." And I was just like, I can't be asked to like
Mm.
things or to pretend to like things that I don't. I love you and I'm glad you're here and I'm listening to you. I just don't care. But it's
Mm.
not that I don't care about you and it's not that I don't want to hear. I
You're
just kind of
detached.
don't care.
Yeah.
And it's really just an honest space that I was holding.
Mm.
Here it says, other people are bright, I alone am dark. Other people are sharp, I alone am dull. Other people have purpose, I alone don't know. I drift like a wave on the ocean. I blow as aimless as the wind.
Oh, okay. Uh, I'm speechless, I have to say.
Yeah,
Just so you know, I'm speechless. There's some things that don't require any comment, I would say.
yeah.
I think that's my
There is
conclusion. Yeah.
when we start thinking back to that first line, we start to think, I want to be respected.
Mm.
I want to be seen as intelligent. I want to be seen as having the answer. I want to be seen as my identity. But to let go of our identity. Oh, hello.
Oh, she's back.
Yes.
I think you have a magnet or something, and she just comes in whenever you're here.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I alone don't know.
Mm.
Mommy,
Oh,
what does heart stroke mean?
I have no idea. I have to check it, okay?
What's this?
It's a phone.
Why they can get toes over and tell what is it?
Okay, I'll check it. Just
It's called Google.
Oh, okay. I will check on Google, okay?
Wow. So Google is a brand and she is well educated on the
Yeah.
brand.
Apparently, her teachers told her that not every parent knows. Well, their parents don't know every
I
answer.
told you that you are not Google. Parents are not Google.
Exactly. Parents are not Google. That's it.
Wow. Are there teachers telling them that their parents aren't
Yes, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Before you're even able to move out of the house, they have already transitioned to a new parent.
Mm, absolutely. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, I,
Yeah.
I fear, I fear, I fear for the generations ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am different from the ordinary people. I drink from the great mother's breasts. What do you think about that?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yes, I am different from ordinary people. I
Mm.
drink from the great mother's breasts.
Whew. It's all connected to the aspect of surrender. Surrender. So what I can hear is this person is unbothered because they are connected to source.
Yes. There's
Mm.
no need to think.
Mm.
There's no need to have expectation. we are connected to source, so we are protected, we are nourished, right? Because that's what
Mm-hmm.
breasts do. They nourish us and they
Mm,
bring us into life. They give us sustenance, they give us life.
mm,
And that is like, to be able to be nourished by the knowledge that you are connected, then that allows you to go back to this first line and stop thinking. You can just be here and present. Know that you are connected to me and I am connected to you, and we want the best for each other.
absolutely. Oh, okay. Can I just say I'm grateful for my journey of, yeah, just being here and listening and even being in a state of understanding. For me, it's a big blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we've crossed paths,
Mm.
because you have a beautiful calm energy, and that energy, I think, does need a little coddling these days, because it seems like your role as mother has put that on the back burner sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it does have a way of trying and testing, but it also teaches a lot. It
Mm.
has what it has done. It has been a catalyst for my journey. Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much. My time is about to run out.
Nafisa, thank you.
Thank you too.
Oh, Nafisa's my new buddy. I just want you guys to know, I think we've talked twice. I think we may have talked in an on recovery, and now we're talking here on Tao of the Day. Yeah, she's my new buddy, and I really enjoyed sharing 20 with her. And 20 does have a couple of the lines that I like a couple of my favorite lines. Stop thinking and end your problems, people. Like, yes, this is the way to go. Like, the more you think, the more problems you're going to run across. The more you let go and just allow these things to be whatever they are, as they are. They work themselves out. They work themselves out. Like Catherine jumped on earlier, and she is someone who everybody needs to follow. She talks about intuition, and she is definitely one to promote this concept of stop thinking and end your problems. Um, and just allowing things to be, allowing things to be you, right? To be different from ordinary people. You don't need to be like everybody else. There's so many people, not only in the world but on here on Wisdom and everywhere, that are telling you how to be. And you would probably benefit from understanding you are different from ordinary people, and everybody is ordinary, no matter how different they are. And so, but like, you don't have to, we don't have to get excited about things. We don't have to get our panties in a wad every time something comes up. We can be here present as we are. Catherine is joining me, my buddy.
1 second. I'm sorry. The zoo has gone crazy.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? Is it feeding time? And we've gone to mute mode.
Yes, because I don't. Did you hear the elephant?
I did. What was going on there?
Yeah, they were all excited because they went outside and there's snow again.
Oh, there's snow again.
Yeah, but
Snow
it's
again.
more like ice. I'm going to be honest, but Jenna
Yeah,
gets
it's just,
excited.
yeah, but it's not
Jenna,
it's not that pretty crunchy.
yeah, Jenna's that one that gets excited and expects you to all get as excited as she is, and put on your
Oh.
pom pom dress. Okay, I have two questions.
Two questions. Yeah, questions.
Did the last gal, did she say that the school is telling them that their parents are not Google?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm no comment.
What's that?
I said
What's
I'm no
that?
comment. I'm no
No, no.
comment.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
Too much to say.
Actually,
And then,
actually, I did have a comment. I made it, and we just let it hang there. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you can imagine where I would go with that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I did try to come on. It didn't let me on.
Yeah, I noticed. I didn't know what happened. I saw you
But
jump back off or something.
here's the interesting thing. My number is 19.
Wow.
And I did love that last one, especially the first part.
Yes, I thought you would. I thought you would. That whole, yeah, you probably heard me kind of giving you a little pump up at the end there when I was saying, yeah, I think that would have been one that you would have enjoyed because you do definitely tell us to stop thinking.
And myself.
Yeah, oh yeah, like we tell others because others are connected to us and we see ourselves in them and we want to be like, would you just stop thinking?
Exactly.
That's what we need to tell ourselves. Okay, 19. Throw away holiness and wisdom. And
Oh,
people, I pause every time I see wisdom just because we're on wisdom. Throw
yes.
away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier. Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw
Mm.
away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves. If these aren't enough, just stay in the center of the circle and let things take their course.
I don't know. I feel like this has been covered.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Didn't you
everything's been
just say
covered.
if you stop thinking, just allow things to be?
Yeah. Oh God. Wrong pipe. So I'd love to like look at this in these three in the beginning of this, like throw
Mm-hmm.
away holiness and wisdom, throw away holiness and wisdom, and people will be 100 times happier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so for me, that looks like holiness is something to achieve. Wisdom is something to achieve, and when you throw away these things, these achievements, something that you can strive for, something that you desire to have, then you're going to be 100 times happier because you won't have to have that in the back of your mind as something you need to achieve.
Interesting. Interesting. I like that perspective. I see it as holiness as righteousness, kind of,
Okay.
sense of like, I practice whatever religion or, whatever that is of your belief system. And, so I practice it on such a high level that I'm the one who knows. And then
Mm.
wisdom, what was touted for so long and now starting to get not so touted is education. I have a PhD, I've got certification, I've got, all of these things. And so I'm the smartest one in the room. And sometimes you're like, yeah, really? Because, I mean, you seem confused when the walk sign showed up when the crosswalk came. So I'm
Right,
excited.
right.
Um, so I feel like the balloon of like I remember having a friend who was a lawyer, and he said, I studied so hard in law school, I'm done learning. Like, I'm a
Oh,
lawyer, I have to learn. And he was right. That was it. He had no interest, no curiosity, had no interest in learning one other thing. He had come to the pinnacle of education.
yeah.
And that's kind of where I think of this, of where we cut ourselves off at the knees by thinking that we already know everything.
Yeah, once you define yourself, once you identify with being holy, or once you identify with
Mhm.
being wise, then there's nowhere to move towards. And so when
Mhm.
you can get rid of those things, then you'll always be curious. And then
Yeah.
curiosity really breeds happiness. Curiosity really breeds like joy.
Critical think-
What was that?
Curiosity breeds critical thinking.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be from a judgmental place, right? Like it could just be like, oh, that's interesting, right? Like just
Mhm.
just curious. And then it goes on to say, throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing.
I mean, that for me, that really is in the same type of thing. I look at relatives I know, and and I remember my being told, "Well, we're never going to date until we're married." I'm like, "How does that work?" And it was
We're
all
never
of
going
this.
to date until we're married.
Yeah, and so it's like the religious beliefs of like, you get matched and you're not allowed to kiss until you like all of these like rules. And then
Like
you
those
go
moral grounds, yeah.
right, moral ground. And then justice, I see that as like the regulation. These are the rules of being a good person, and we're going to set them and you're going to like it.
Yeah, so many people get all caught up in the idea that if, like, I don't know if it was you that told me this the other day, or maybe it was somebody else, but I was having a conversation and someone said, um, they had a cab driver, or they were talking to a driver, I think, and they were like, "Oh, if we got rid of rules, like everybody would go killing each other." And I was like, "Wow, like how does one go to that place? How does one go to the place that you need these moral grounds in order to be good?" And if, like if there are no consequences, then you're just going to do bad things. And I don't believe that at all. I don't know that I've ever believed that. But I think a
No,
lot of people do.
say to me, if we didn't have, like, if the stop sign on the bus and the beeping and the lights on the school bus didn't come out, people will just mow children down. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so I'm, I don't live in that world. I'm sorry, and I don't see that. But there, that is, and to me, that's the same thing. You become so much in your own bubble of, I've got the highest education. My role is the highest thing. I am wise because of the title that I carry. And so in my bubble, I know what is best for everyone, kind of thing, and these rules. So I feel like it's a one thought idea that then controls everything that happens.
Right. I was doing a talk one time, and I told everybody that I had gotten a warning when I got pulled over for speeding and all this other stuff. And one of the guys raised his hand and says, but people have to, like people have to be held to a standard in society. And I was like, oh, okay. What and in my mind, what had passed was that this man is really rule oriented. And I asked him, I was like, did you spend a lot of time in school? Because, that's a place where we learn rules, right?
Right.
And it was just my first thought. And I asked him if he spent a lot of time. He goes, oh yeah, I'm an engineer. And I was like, oh. Then I asked him, did you always want to be an engineer? And he paused and looked at the ceiling. And I said, yep, that's all I need to know. You fell to a rule. Your dad or somebody
Yeah.
had a rule. You gave up things that you wanted for that rule. And now you think
Every,
everybody in the world needs to follow the rules because you were robbed, because you allowed yourself to be robbed of your dreams through the rules, because of the rules.
yes. And I have to say, from school, I learned how to use loopholes like nobody's business. So I have to say thank you to the school system for creating loopholes for me to find.
Yes, and I did that a little bit when I never took a language in high school. I remember going to the counselor's office, and he was like, "Hey, you don't have a language." And I opened up I asked them for the school manual, and I said, "It says language or arts." And I have 3 years of art, my friend. And
Yeah.
like, and so that was like the one loophole. But what I learned is how to keep my head down, and that's something that I'm unlearning now. I learned just how to keep my head down.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
harass the every day about everything so
No.
that she sign off and let me graduate 1 year early.
Oh, good on you. Yeah, no, I didn't. I kept my head down, and in the last year, when I was like full on addict and everything, is when I just started like, just keep your head down and get by. And that
Oh,
was it.
yeah.
It was a bad lesson. It was not a great
No,
lesson for the next couple of years. But like I'm getting over it now. Here I am, 46, finally getting over what I learned in high school.
no, I think that's interesting because I harassed her in order for her to be like, oh, just please get rid of this girl. Like, what do I have to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's why, yeah, wanted to be known as the harasser. So she would sign anything I put in front of her.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's a good approach.
So important for um, these examples, how polar opposite they are. One, we're both King of Hearts, which we know who
Right.
likes. That's just how it is. And
Yep.
two, how we do have a very equal grounded conversation on these things and all of these different aspects. So I always love that.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? I was just thinking, I think maybe we should make a loose plan to celebrate our birthdays together.
Yeah.
Let's like it's far enough off. We can make that happen.
Oh, totally. And we're so
Yeah,
close.
let's yeah. I mean, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever. Like we can make
Yeah.
it work. All
Yeah.
right, sounds good. All right, throw away industry and profit, and there won't be any thieves.
Oh, well, I mean, I think everyone in the audience knows the answer to this one. It is definitely loopholes,
Right.
total loopholes.
And I think
Because,
that's the thing. Like the person who's taking the loophole because of the industry, you find a loophole, you get through the loophole, you would be considered the thief. But if you don't have the
yeah,
loophole and you just allow, then there's no need to
yeah,
find a loophole.
yep. Well, and especially if you're the wise and the justice and all that, then you're actually helping design the loopholes with
Right.
because you're making you because there's a point when you make so many rules, the more rules you make, actually the more loopholes you make. And
Yeah.
I had like a authority figures who were like, "Oh, I didn't realize that had a loophole." And just like you found the art and language one,
Right.
the more rules you have, actually, the more loopholes you make. And people don't realize that, but they do when they're the ones making them. And so when you go into industry and being thieves, you know, there's a point when the joy of creating, finding the loopholes becomes more important.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah, it's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah,
Like you have created curiosity around finding the loophole, not
yeah,
enjoying this now, wherever it is.
yeah.
It's like, but not that that's a bad thing or anything. I'm just saying
No.
that, like, yeah, there's like you have created a hurdle, and once you create a hurdle, you've created curiosity around it, rather than having curiosity for just a life being lived.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're pointing at things. It's always interesting when people make a rule and then I always go, was that a rule that needed to be made? Like
Oh, and
how
yeah, and I
much?
the other side in question. So if I don't do those things, I don't have an issue. Awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Like I always try to find like this loopy side where they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. So if I did it this way, it's not a problem. Oh, I gotta write that one down too. Like
Right.
yeah, yeah, it's funny.
And if these three aren't enough, just stay at the center of the circle and let all things take their course. Let's let it all be. Whether it's the industry or the
Yeah,
profit, morality or holiness, let it be. And stay in the center and just understand that we are all connected.
and let others be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeez. Like, if you want to be left alone, leave a motherfucker alone.
Yeah, and it's so much about also be careful with yourself of being the expert or too wise. Be
Yeah.
careful of being too many rules and be careful of being too much of the knowledge of a belief system and it,
You just got dumped by the app. Come back up, finish your thought. I would love to have that. Here you are. Yes, be careful of like that's right. Like we live in a society that treasures holiness and wisdom, morality and justice, industry and profit. Be
yeah,
careful of making those.
I feel like it's kind of in a way a warning to
Mm,
society and to individuals of it's very easy to fall into these things. I mean, how much is expert sold right now? Become an expert.
right. Become an expert. And all you got to do, and then when you're done with this course, you're going to get a piece of paper that says you're an expert.
Right. Right.
And that's it. You're getting a piece of paper that says you're an expert. That doesn't
And
mean
then,
you are. Like I had Deborah come up and we talked on the last on recovery and I helped her understand something. And she was like, God, and you're not even a therapist. And I said, yeah, I don't need a degree to tell me I know what I'm talking about.
yeah. Yeah.
Like we don't need that. You
No.
are an expert, but like within
Right.
reason, right?
Right, right. And and I think that's the important thing. So I love this one. I think it's one that should be percolated on and sat
Yeah.
upon with where we are, because we're shifting so much away from this in a way that it can be uneasy feeling for people.
Yeah. As we shift away from things that we have treasured for centuries,
Yes.
it's going to be difficult. And I think like really being present and throwing away holiness and throw these things away completely. Throw away morality and rebuild it in your mind. Like, what does it mean to
Mm.
you? Like,
Yeah.
rather than having a right and wrong at your fingertips at any moment. And then I just left Nafisa, who their teachers are telling their children that their parents, like
Aren't as
Google is better than their parents. Like they should
yeah.
go to their Google before they go to their parents. Like that is creating huge rifts. It's going to, like to turn to a company and to have an industry telling you that a company it has your best interest at heart. Yes,
Mhm.
your parents might not know the answer, but it's okay to not know.
What
Google is
happened
just telling you that it's not.
to Britannica? What happened to Encyclopedia Britannica? I loved
Yeah.
looking.
And when you go on when in Encyclopedia Britannica, they have a limited number of space. So they have to keep with like if every inch of your property, paper, whatever, like needs this is why if you're published and printed, that has more weight than if you have a blog.
Oh, interesting.
Because paper is finite. You can't just walk around with everything. And like once you put a blog up, it's not really taking up any space.
Yeah,
Space is valuable. And if people deem your work worthy of space, that means something.
man,
Well, but then anybody can get published these days because, you know, I mean like I
right.
don't know how many I don't
Ebook.
know how many I don't know how many like text messages and emails I get. Write your book. I've put 100,000 people into print, and I'm just like, wow. Like I don't want to just be that. Like like that's not like I'm sure I can go through your course and I can write a book in 30 days. I'm sure of it. I mean, I already have a book. I just have it, like it hasn't
Right.
been picked up. So it's like whatever. Like, now it's about like, well, what do I want to do with this? Well, I keep building on it. I don't keep making it longer, but I keep building on the concepts and rewriting and eventually it'll be what I want it to be.
Yeah, I think this is a good one to sit on,
Yeah.
because we are shifting so much away from this, and it there doesn't seem to be a clear path ahead, but there is. Can you read the last line one more time?
Okay. Was that was that Jenna?
Spencer.
Oh, okay, Spencer loves me. I know. If these three aren't enough, just stay in the center of the circle and let all things take their course.
Well, there you go. That's
And
that.
that's the thing. Like we're the ones that need to stay in the center of the circle. We can't get into other people's arguments. We don't want to have the argument of why holiness is important, why wisdom is important. We have to stay in the center of the circle. And we have to allow those arguments to be had, but we have to understand that if we throw those away completely, we're going to be 100 times happier. We're going to do the right thing and we won't be thieves.
Yeah. What we do, what our core soul knows and guides us to do, is better than what the morality or justice or any of those standards can set.
That's right. Because they are bigger than just an answer.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
so, will you read the first line of 20, like the last line of 19, the first line of 20, and then I think we are wrapped up.
Stop thinking and end your problems.
I think, that leads in beautifully. I love
Yeah.
it.
Love it. All right, dear.
Love you. Thank
Love
you.
you. We
Steve,
will,
by the way,
yes.
is in the background. Mwah. Bye, everybody.
Bringing up D Grant, another one of my faves. Haven't talked to you in a while. How you doing, brother?
Doing fantastic, buddy. How you doing?
I am doing well, doing well. Just loving on the Dow as I want do.
As you want to do? Yeah, I appreciate that.
So yeah, you got a number for me?
I do, but before I do that, I wanted to just say, like, I was jiving so much with what you and Catherine were talking about, especially regarding the non-expert thing and not needing a piece of paper to tell you what you already know. That's beautiful, beautifully said, my friend.
Yes, yeah. No, it's too many of us look outside of ourselves for validation. And that's something I do as well. I don't want to sit here and say that I'm not doing it, but but that validation doesn't last.
Yeah, well, you and I've had this conversation before, and you probably heard me talk about my feelings about quote unquote experts and gurus.
Yeah.
So, so I really jive with all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need, like, just like you, I don't need a title to validate what it is that is inside of me. The wisdom and the love and the guidance and all that stuff. Like when the spirit is flowing, like there's no badge of anything I have to give me permission to do what needs to be done.
That's right. And the spirit doesn't stop flowing.
Exactly.
Like and we can fool ourselves, of course, but when we can be in touch and to get to a place, like usually if this we are not in touch with the flow of spirit when we are looking outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what numbers have you done already? I apologize, I haven't heard the whole thing today.
No, today 19 and 20, that's it.
Oh, syncopation. Nice. All right. Well, I'm gonna not break the flow necessarily, but go backwards and ask for 11.
11 is a good one. It's one that's come up recently a couple times, and I love this one. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. Initial thoughts?
Well, this one comes up a lot actually. So listening to spirit is really important, as you have so cleverly and clearly articulated already. This teaching first came to me through Wayne Dyer, and you have repeated it to me numerous times.
Yeah.
So the
It's one that's calling to you, definitely. Because I was
yeah
like, I think you and I have talked about this before.
yeah we have,
Yeah.
and I am flowing more in the non-being, in that's become more and more a regular part of my day and operating, and also kind of like I think where spirit has been leading me is breaking out of the. I guess this is part of the non-being, breaking out of the everyday has to look a certain way paradigm that we kind of tell ourselves, especially in this entrepreneurial business space where your day needs to begin at this certain time, and you need to do these certain things before you do the next thing, and then at this time you're supposed to do this, and at this time you're supposed to do that, instead of learning how to just be you.
So we're gonna have a rather than going through this line by line because it's all pretty much the same. I do want to have a conversation with you about this. So let me ask you a couple questions, just because we're buddies. I think, and I hope you feel safe enough in
Of
this
course,
container to
of
be able to
course.
have this conversation. What in your life? What in your life? What in you do you or where do you appreciate and accept and embrace the masculine, the structure, the being? This is the spokes, the clay, or the house. The structure.
The structure. Well, I am, and I have been somebody that is pretty disciplined about, like, what I do with my time.
Okay.
Um, So there is a time I wake up every day. I've gotten to be where I'm more fluid in what I do at that time, instead of it having to be, at this time I'm going to do this, at this time I'm going to do that. I spent a long time in that place, and it was quote unquote productive, but not very peaceful. And
Right.
so shifting away from having to feel like productivity equals success versus I'm going to do what brings me peace in this moment has been the transition that I've been in for the past maybe year or so.
That's beautiful. You know, like there's this, you know, because your schedule is the house. Your schedule, like when you wake up, all of that, like all of that work, those are the spokes. Those are the spokes that bring it all together. And we need balance because if we're only focused on the schedule, then we don't get to use what the schedule creates.
Exactly.
And the schedule creates space. The schedule creates the non-being, the space for you to not be, right? Like, and so when I look at things, the spokes, the clay, the house, or the wood, or whatever, all of that is structure, and that structure is the masculine flow of things. And what masculine does is it creates a structure to be within. You know, the Tao creates a structure in which the universe is. And within
Mm,
the universe is a structure for the planets. The planet is a structure for the beings and the air and the water and all of the things that are here. And then within us individually, I mean, you can go down to country, city, you know, whatever. But then within us, there is a structure for the cells. Within the cells, there's a structure for, and it just goes down and down and down. And so there's this ever present masculine feminine of just like structure space, structure space, structure space, infinitely
hmm
small. And so when I ask about that, you know, I'm saying, okay, well, we're like, as you kind of step into your non-being, we can't get rid of the masculine completely, because if we get rid of the schedule completely, then we lose the structure, and then we're ungrounded, and then we're
hmm
floating in an abyss of you know, I don't want to, of maybe believing there is something good to that, right? Believing, like, right, there's a destination,
hmm
there's a judgment as to, you know, why.
Yeah. So I dude, I really appreciate the way you phrase that, because it's really important to not like it's not about like erasing all of one thing, but like learning how to get into this sort of evolutionary flow where, if like for me, I had based my entire way of living around basically scheduling all this stuff and but I very much like what you said a minute ago about looking without instead of going within. I was trying to pick up these methodologies from, I guess, so-called quote unquote experts on this, that, or the other, instead of learning how to be me. What is my own flow?
Yeah.
And evolving into that. And as I let go of like what other people are, saying is what you have to do to be quote unquote successful in business or in, whatever. Uh, and learning like I can just be me, and I can create my own path. And sometimes, like Catherine was saying, sometimes the path isn't always clearly marked right in front of you. But when you listen to that inner guidance, it tells you what your next step is, and that's the only thing on the path you need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I was told once, and this was a beautiful sort of metaphor image, like you can drive from here to California. I mean, I don't know where you are. I mean, you might be in Arizona. You might even be in California.
I'm in
I'm in
Texas, but
Chicago.
I
Okay.
understand.
So you can drive from here to California with nothing but your headlights.
Hmm.
You know, all you can see is 20 feet in front of you, but you're traveling, you know, 1,000 miles, you
Yeah.
know? And that's the thing. You're on a journey, but you can only see what's in front of you. You know, the idea being that, like, well, I know I'm going in this direction, you know, and that's all I know. And we don't know what's next. We don't know if there are going to be deer ahead. We don't know. And we can stop our car and worry about it, right? Or we can
Right.
just keep going. You know, even if we go slower, if we're like, uh-oh, I saw a deer. We're gonna slow down. You know, like,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so that is what you're able to do, and that's this we work with being, right? This whole thing ends up, right, we the spokes into a wheel to make a hub, like clay into a pot to make a bowl, like a hammer into a house so you can live in it. We work with being. You work with your schedule, and you work with getting up out of bed. You work with exercising to keep your mind and body right. You work with diet. You work with all of the manifestation, but you don't use any of that. That just creates the possibility of you using the non-being, you
Hmm.
using the space in your life, you using the vibrant force that is life itself, that is within you. That's what you use. Even when you're waking up, how are you using life?
Mm.
It's not
Yeah.
just if you're wasting all of your life on the manifestation, meaning you spend your time focused on, I need to wake up at 4, I need to wake up at 4, I need to and now I'm up at 4 and I'm like, I'm tired because I woke up at 4, I'm tired, like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
and then you're like, all right, I need to journal. Now I'm journaling and I don't know what to write, and I'm just going to journal because that's what I'm supposed to do. Now I'll chime in here. When I started journaling at 18, and I've journaled almost consistently since then. And I write 3 pages every morning, and it was a thing called Morning Pages through a book that I read back then called The Artist's Way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
journaling for me really is about knowing myself. And my journaling has changed dramatically from back then to today. And my life has changed, obviously, dramatically from back then to today. And it started as very much the masculine structure. What it is today is something that I use, right? I use this non-being and flow and allow myself, right? Because I journal in the morning with my non-dominant hand. I write left to right, right to left, left to right, right to left. So it's like all of this kind of crazy stuff. I don't really use the journaling, but I use me to journal. And that's the thing
Mm.
that, like there's this inside outside again.
Man, that's really powerful, dude. Yeah, I've been journaling for since I was 16, maybe 17.
Yeah.
It not every single day like you are. That discipline is really
and
powerful.
again and again like like, I mean, I've missed stretches, but it is a daily practice that I love. Like, it's not a task at all. It is
Yeah,
something that,
yeah,
like I mentioned, it's something that I use, meaning it is the non-being, like when I'm writing.
yeah. So I write every day in some form or fashion.
Uh-huh.
And that's been a way. So for me, journaling, like my journal practice has changed over time, obviously too.
Hmm.
But sometimes I'm writing down what it is that I've experienced, almost like a historical record.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'm doing kind of the Neville Goddard method of writing down my envisioned desire, and then what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it like sound like? Getting into the feeling state of what is this experience that I want to create going to be like in all of the different capacities. What am I feeling emotionally? All that stuff. Sometimes I get an idea, and lately it's turned into I get just like a scene in my mind, and it turns into a short story. And so what I'm finding is that my whether you call it journaling or writing practice or whatever has gone into this creative bent where I'm learning new things about life and about God and about people and about the journey through crafting these short stories. And so you mentioned when I first came on that you haven't seen or heard me in a while. That's partially because I've been doing a whole lot of writing. And what I'm going to be starting to do here on Wisdom is sharing those stories more frequently.
Oh, I'm excited about that. That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's a deja vu that I've experienced this before. If you read something once already, I don't know. But I think I have experienced you read some of your stuff on here before, haven't
Yeah,
I?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yes. Okay, then I was like, I don't know if that's deja vu or not, but I do recognize that I have had that experience. So
Yeah, I've read about 3 short stories. I'm gonna start turning it into like once a week I do like a short story reading, and what I want to do and what I'm going to do is read the story, give a little bit of commentary for it, but then just kind of invite people in to share what it is that they, jived with or what really stood out or ask questions or whatever like that. I'm gonna do that this afternoon, I think.
oh, beautiful, beautiful. I would I have a couple meetings today, but I will definitely check it out, and I can always check out the recording. Thanks,
Yeah,
Steve.
man. Well,
Awesome.
I love you, Martin John. Have a great day, buddy.
You too, man. Love you as well. So beautiful to have my peeps come out for Tao of the Day. I want to mention and D Grant. I want to just invite you and everybody else listening right now to my workshop on Tuesday the 25th. I have a workshop. It's a digital workshop from 9 a.m. So this time exactly. So whatever time you are in, whatever time zone you are in, this is when it would start on Tuesday, the 25th. It's my Recover Yourself workshop. It is all about recovering yourself, recovering who you are. If you are interested, there is a coupon code that is wisdom. So if you go to Eventbrite, you can get all the links through me on Instagram, through my link tree, which you can find on Instagram, through me directly. So all of that is available. Lois is coming up to join me for Tao of the Day. Yeah, but if you're interested, reach out. Lois, how are you doing?
I am blessed. I am blessed.
I am so
And I
glad.
just
It's nice
happen
to
to,
see you.
it's nice to hear you too. Well, see you too, feel you, hear you, all that good stuff.
Oh, yes.
I just signed on and I'm like, oh yeah, I got here in time.
It is time for your Tao of the Day. Do you have a number for me between 1 and 81?
Yes, 81.
81. Love it when we kind of get that bookend. So here we go. This is really a beautiful, like, this is a really eloquent and beautiful way to do things. Even though the word eloquent is in here, we want to make sure that, and this is really uh, pointed at wisdom and what we try to accomplish here. I think true
Okay.
words aren't eloquent. Eloquent words aren't true. Wise men don't need to prove their point. Men who need to prove their point aren't wise. The master has no possessions. The more he does for others, the happier he is. The more he gives to others, the wealthier he is. The Tao nourishes by not forcing. By not dominating, the master leads.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
Yeah.
That is so in sync with what I've been working on and stuff in me.
Tell me what you're working on.
Well, this is a new format for me because I'm usually face to face and people in front of me type of person. And since I've been retired, it's like everybody would say, "You need to get back out there, mom. You need to get back out there, sister."
Yeah.
And so I'm back out here, but I'm in a new forum and getting my feet wet and not knowing how to navigate this system and I'm finding myself when I give my talks, I'm nervous. I mean, I'm not nervous per se, but I get that little anxiety because I don't want to say the wrong things, but I want to be myself and all that kind of stuff. And
Mm,
yeah, so with that, I know that I'm here to share love, compassion, insight, guidance, shed light, offer suggestions for the benefit of my wisdom and the benefit of others, and share my experiences and my wisdom. So I'm here to give and receive. But like I said, the form is new to me. So I'm very excited, very, 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 very excited when we're talking about this because I have not never been in a community like this where people think like me and we can just do this. So I get excited and I felt it, well, I felt and I feel the energy too.
yeah.
I sometimes cut people off and I don't mean to. That's not my intention. I'm just so excited, and I don't. I've not. You guys who've been doing podcasts and all that stuff. You guys are very poised, and you know how to take your time and ask the questions and give them a chance to answer. But I'm like a little kid in a candy store. I'm like, ah! Okay. And I understand that my energy is very high because I am excited. And for some people who may not be vibrating as high, they may find what I'm saying offensive or too much or I'm blah or whatever. But I still want to be myself in doing what I'm doing. So this morning, when I woke up, it was just on my mind. And this is written down. What I'm telling you right now, I actually wrote down. Now, I didn't know I was going to tell it to you. Okay, I had no
Yeah.
idea the Tao of the day would say, "Hey." So,
That's
so
what the Tao does,
my
baby.
thing is, and so my thing is, if the things that I say don't resonate right with you, I ask you, don't judge me. Store them for later. Save my simply disregard them. Put them in the trash. Call them shit, and let it fertilize and grow. You know, but my purpose, and I'm like, do I say my purpose? Or when every time I get on the thing, or because I've been toiling with that because I understand that somebody felt offended by something I said. They felt judged and they felt I shamed them. And I was like, I don't do that, but I offer my apologies if anyone on this app has ever felt cut off by me, shamed, judged, felt guilty by some of the things that I've said, because that is not my purpose. And like today, my talk is going to be Ho'oponopono, because I
Oh,
want to
there's a
know.
lot of people. You got to reach out to Bella. You got to reach out to you got to reach out to my coach Carrie, Regina Carey. Like they have had conversations about it. There is a lot of conversation around that on here, and I think that you are exactly where you need to be, babe.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of like I said, I've never, and I had to ask myself, Joyce, did you do that? And I know I didn't. If I did it, I didn't intend to do it. Okay,
No,
that's
but
my thing is I don't intend to do it, and so that's why I said, I don't like having being wrong in anybody's sight, and I don't like being wrong in my sight, and I like to admit when I make mistakes or if I've overstepped my bounds or if somebody gets offended, but I still have a right to be me,
yeah.
and you know what I mean, and I have a right to say my opinion and right to feel how I feel even if my feeling or experience is different
Right.
than
And
somebody
we
else.
have to, and out here in this Tao in 81 at the end, it says the Tao nourishes by not forcing, by not
Yes.
demanding the master leads. And when I read that and I hear what you're saying, I have to agree with you in the idea that, like, you know what? You need to be able to express yourself.
Hmm.
And other people need to be able to be hurt.
Yes.
It's okay.
Exactly.
It's not
Yeah.
wrong that they are offended by that. If they are offended by what you say, the job is not yours to
Right.
change how they feel. The job is theirs to figure out how they
Why they
feel
feel?
and
Yeah. To
why they
feel.
were hurt by that. Maybe it's because you happen to be, in their mind, a bigot. Well, okay, that's fine. That's not your problem. Like,
No, it's
if
not.
if you don't like your thoughts and if you don't like the way other people make you feel, that's what
Hmm.
you have to look at.
Right. And
You know?
I understand. Like I said, that's why I said this was so apropos. This
Yeah.
was like so on point. And then I had illustration. Okay, because this
Mm-hmm.
just happened. This just happened. I was like, oh no, I don't lay down on this and I don't go to sleep on this because it hit me wrong. And I was like, well, why did it hit me wrong? So
Right.
and then listen, then I began to judge me. So
Mm-mm.
me judging me brought this to me.
Yes.
Okay. All
That's
right.
right.
And I
Now you're in your own
oh,
backyard.
okay, that's what this is the whole thing of this whole thing. But me judging me did
Mm.
this. And
Yeah.
I felt guilty because they felt hurt. Okay. So
Mm-hmm. And that's
so
on
that
you.
means that's on me. And
Yep. Yep.
that guilt, I mean, it's like it was like because like I said, when they were saying, I was like, what? And I'm
Right.
like, and then all of a sudden, then I judge me. So that means I still have judgment of myself that I need to release. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all that
yeah.
means to me.
Oh
Um,
man, I really like, I don't want to push this out, but it really
uh-huh,
just briefly, I have, like, I was just talking about this before you came on, as my workshop, which is entitled Recover Yourself. And it's
uh-huh.
because I got 21 years clean and sober, and it's like, it's for like alcohol, drug treatment counselors and stuff, but really this idea of, when you see a trigger, how do you work with it? How do you work with it is what I do. So if you're at all interested in something like that, you reach out to me. But back to this, Tao Te Ching. True words aren't eloquent. Eloquent words aren't true. Wise men don't need to prove their point. This is the one that I wanted. Wise men don't need to prove their point. Men who need to prove their point aren't wise.
There it is.
Talk to me.
There
Go
it
on.
is. When you
Yep.
say that, I toiled over whether or not I should say anything on my case, on my
Mm-hmm.
thing as a disclaimer, okay? And then I was led to say, no, this is
Yep.
just for my information. And then I
Yep.
pop on here after I finish all my morning, I'll say morning rituals, all my
It's all right.
morning rituals, my morning tea and the lemon water and the energy exercises and the all the stuff we do. Oh, well, I don't know if you do, but I do in
I
the
do
morning
plenty.
to get
Yep.
my
Yep. Yep.
okay, to get myself ready
I've been
for
up
the
since
day.
3 a.m., girl, like doing shit like that.
4:30, 4:30. Okay, so recognize. No, I'm just joking. You're my brother. See, your brother from
Yeah.
another mother. Okay, so I just said, you know what? I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I got to just be, but I have to be able to. If I did, I gotta let people know I'm woman enough to apologize. So I figure it's important that people understand the power of the whole Ponopono prayer, because yesterday when my daughter was over and she said I asked she wants to do she wants me to talk with her on something, and we couldn't figure out a topic, and before she left I said, how about Ho'oponopono? And she didn't say anything. None of this stuff that happened that I'm talking that brought me to write this hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, and she said, I don't know, Mom. I think I want to talk about business and finance. I said, but you know that's not my area of expertise. She said, but you taught me so much. I'm able to teach everybody else. I said, yeah, but I taught you essential. She said, that's what I'm talking about. And I said, okay, well, go on your thing and I'll talk about business. That's fine. I guess we can do that. And I let the whole Pono go. Then
Don't
this
let it go.
happened in the middle of the night, okay?
Yep.
And then it brought me to say, okay, wait. What am I here for? And I wrote that, and that's kind of proving who I. No, I don't need to prove who I am. I got to
That's
just
right.
be,
That's
okay?
right.
And then I said maybe I just need to talk about Ho'oponopono so that people know. Even though the energy came up, it showed me that I was judging me. That's what it showed me, because nobody can do what you ain't mirroring out there. Okay. And I
That's right.
have been judging me because I am new on this damn app.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I'm not, yeah. Look, I ain't talking about judgment like, oh,
Oh, you
I'm
you
sorry.
muted
Somebody
yourself.
tried to
I
call
bet she.
through.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
Okay. I've been judging me on this app. Okay. And was I supposed to say that? Or did I say that right? Or shouldn't I have said that? Or, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So now, with that said, when we talk about that end, no, I do not have to prove anything, and I didn't have to, because I came on here and the spirit led me to hit the dial and get to tell you, and not put that shit on my page.
Yep. Now it's like you ain't gotta wait for your daughter, right? Like you ain't gotta wait for somebody else to step up and for you to be you. You just go and do your thing.
Yes, exactly,
Absolutely.
and then and just not being self conscious about what I said and how I said, because this is me everywhere. How you guys get me? I'm like this everywhere I go. So people, you don't have too many friends when you like this everywhere you go. Okay, because because they mirror stuff at you and you mirror it back to them, and they don't like what they see when you tell them it's not you, it's not me, it's you.
That's
I don't
right.
go
That's
around
right.
saying it's not you, it's me.
That's
I mean,
right.
whatever it is, I have to
Yeah.
say if I know it's, and I say thank you anyway, again, because of Ho'oponopono. So
That's
I
right.
figure,
It's a gift.
so yeah, yeah, it is a gift that I give to myself.
Yes.
Okay, it's a
And
gift that I
and
give to my damn self.
And everybody has the opportunity to accept that gift, but most people want to play the victim.
And my years of being a victim ended freaking shit when I was what, 22,
Good
23, when
on
I
you.
had a
Good
kid.
on you.
When I had a kid, I couldn't
Yep.
play victim no more. I had to get out of that crap. It took a
Mm-hmm.
little while to get out that mentality, but
Of
I had to
course.
get out. Okay, I had to get to
That's right.
victor. But thank you. But yeah, that was a perfect dial for me today. And with that, I'm gonna go on and go and do what I'm supposed to do and open this up and do what God gave me to do this morning
That's
about
right.
the
You get out there.
Ho'oponopono. So,
You get
and
out
I ain't
there
got to
and
go on
nourish.
there and say no disclaimers and all that shit. Cause
That's right. You ain't got to.
I toiled with
You
that
just show
shit.
up. You just show up.
Okay. But I just had to get on here to see what it said, and it that's how synchronicity works. But I thank you very much. You are so beautiful,
Oh,
Martin. I
I
was gonna
love
say
you.
John
I hope
Martin,
I'm
Martin
looking
John.
forward. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you later today. So I'm gonna definitely try and jump on if I can.
Okay, thank you so much. All right,
Absolutely.
bye.
Bye bye. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful conversation. And 81 is truly gorgeous. Like the end of this, and I just want to point out Lois and told us the story, and I just want to kind of recap this really briefly. The Tao nourishes by not forcing, by not dominating, the master leads. Lois went to her daughter and said, "Hey, let's do this." And her daughter said, "Nah, let's do this." But Lois is being guided. Not her daughter's being guided as well. But Lois is being guided to do her thing. And by her being able to do it on her own, she's not dominating, but she is going to lead that conversation. Dr. Rao, nice to see you. I've been thinking about you a lot recently. How you been?
Yeah, pretty good, Martin. I just came to say hi to you because I
Oh,
did.
wonderful. It's good. Yeah, it's been a while since we've chatted. I've seen you on, and like there have been times where I've been like, "Oh, I missed you again," and I missed you again.
Yeah, you should come into my room too when I open it. Then we'll have a nice chat there also.
Yes, I'm always trying to open up to it, and the last couple weeks have been a little busy for me. But I've been seeing that you've been doing
Yeah,
stuff, and I've been excited to jump in.
yeah. I don't mind coming into your room because we rhyme. So
Yes, Dr.
uh,
Rao shares the Tao. That's right.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah. You know what you are saying about the letting the force or the Tao do it. The same thing they explained in several ways in the ancient Indian philosophy too,
Mm,
and that's what I want to add to that. You know, the same thing. It's not separate, but
yeah,
that's
no, everything is the same thing if it's truth.
yeah, same thing. But the thing is, the two things that made difference for me were um, okay, is it free will versus destiny, right? That was a big debate. And we're raised to think, oh, we can make it happen. We are going to will it and all that, right? Then one of my friends told me in the 80s, not now. Unfortunately, he died very suddenly due to liver cancer.
Mm.
But before he died, we became like chummies. So he's into 40s, 50s maybe. I was in 20s, right? But we had the spiritual, kind of friendship. So we used to talk about consciousness, like the Tao or the Brahman and all that, right? And he said something, at the time I was not really that much, but then still was spiritual like that. And he said that consciousness or the Tao or the Brahman, once it takes hold of you, it will make you do its own thing. That means you are evolved enough, you have the spiritual purpose that is something not your existential life, but beyond that. So he had a purpose that is, you have grown up to that, had that, kind of, what is it called? You wound up to it and then you kind of eligible for it. That's why once it takes over, it will take its way. The force will take you towards the higher purpose or noble purpose, whatever that is intended for you.
Yes, and that's bigger.
Yes, that's
It is
bigger.
so much bigger. Like
Yeah,
you and like I don't want to say you, but like a person and their desires for manifesting whatever they want is infinitesimally smaller. You
Yeah.
cannot achieve, and it's
Yeah.
not, and it's not that. The thing is when you are worried about what you're manifesting,
Mm.
that is so tiny. That's you. But
Yeah.
when you embrace that which is desired by the Tao or Brahman or the universe or consciousness, you are moving consciousness
Mm.
forward. You are living through a system that you are a part of anyway.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
kind of like, in our bodies, if our
Mm.
bodies moved in a unison fashion, in our individual bodies, then there would be no cancer. There would be no disease. There
Exactly.
would be no illness because it would all be working together for the benefit of the whole.
Yeah. Other thing, Martin. There is this poem at the end of Bhagavad Gita that tells you like, hey, you are like on a spinning wheel tied up, and the spinning wheel done by the divine force.
Yes.
So your life, once you are, surrendered to the divinity, it has its own noble design and then good design for you, where you are liberated and all that. But then you are like you are bound on a spinning wheel, and the spin is done by the divinity.
Yes. And that's, here in the United States, we love our individuality and we
Yeah.
love this idea of like, I can do what I want. And it's like, yeah, you
One of the
can.
best definitions I heard about that individual thing is, you think you are individual. What is the individual meaning is indivisible. That is,
Yes.
that you are not divisible at all, and but are into divided within your body and mind and other thing. Everything is separate from the source. So you are dividing yourself from the unity that we are.
That's right. That's right. And if you can embrace the unity that we
Yeah,
are,
yeah,
will all, like, everything, everybody, the planet, the
yeah,
universe will attune
yeah.
because so many people are vibrating and thinking and speaking at a low tone, in a
Yeah,
low way, that causes disease, that causes illness, that causes doubt, that causes grief. And then
division.
we move, division,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one of the great things that I have been able to appreciate, on this app, is that yourself, myself, D Grant, Catherine, so many people are talking from a higher space, from a space of courage and
From the
above, from a
from
space
the
of,
unity that we have, and that's where we rhyme, because we
yes,
know that we are in the same union, and everything else can be there, but that are that's a different colors in the universe. That's okay, but
yes,
that's a manifestation. But then what is not manifested is the force we are talking about, is the Tao, is the Brahman.
yeah,
That's the one we're talking about. That is colorless but unified.
right. It is not as exciting
Yeah,
as your concept of manifestation,
yeah, but
but
it's
if you can
blissful.
keep yourself
Yeah,
centered in that, yeah,
it's
go on, I'm sorry.
blissful. It's blissful and peaceful.
Yes, yes. And it doesn't require jumping up for joy.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't require you to like, be ecstatic. It
Yeah,
only requires your presence and consciousness, right? Like, just be here, present with this moment, because this is everything.
yeah. That's
And
what.
if you say, is that it?
Mhm.
Then you're missing it.
Because it's not describable.
That's right.
It is something not put in the words. You got to experience it, and you are in it, and you don't have to go anywhere else. You are right there.
Yeah.
So I think that is the rhyme. So another problem is we associate everything for pleasure.
Oh, the senses. Yeah.
That's why we don't feel that bliss, which is it's beyond senses. It's an existential feeling where you are blissful, conscious, and also you are peaceful.
Yes. Within.
Yes, it is.
And that continues outside of yourself, that reaches out, that peacefulness, that bliss, that joy, that which you are
Yeah.
is always reaching outside of you. Like the thing is you are that before you see it in the world. Like if you're waiting to see peace before you have peace,
Yeah.
you're doing it backwards.
Backward, exactly. That's what is happening. It's like a room full of emptiness is given to us, but we put all these things into the room, then we complain room in the room.
That's right. And that's what D Case and I talked about, or D Grant and I talked about today. What did I think it was 11 he was talking about. It's like the masculine and feminine. You
Yeah.
you use non-being, but you build with being, right? Like you build with being, but you use non-being. And you can't just build a house and then fill it up, because if you filled it up you can't use it. The house isn't useful.
Yeah.
It's only useful when we allow space to
Yeah.
not, for non-being,
Yeah.
for the Tao, for inspiration. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I talk about a lot, is that idea of like, leave room for inspiration.
Yeah. See, when Ramana Maharshi said this, just be,
Just be.
just be yourself. And to be that simple, alas, there are so many things, religions, so many divisions, so many, all those things happen. But just be, and that itself is everything. It's like you are in the ashram, but you want to go out to walk 5,000 miles and find out where the ashram is, because you're already there. Just like
Yeah,
that, be.
that's right. Like it is always
Yeah.
right here. And you have a choice. You can look
Yes,
for it,
you are there.
or you can be it.
Be it. See, he said, no knowing, no becoming. Just be.
Yeah,
One
just be.
one
There.
of the psychologists called me from England one time because I said somewhere in LinkedIn, just be. That's it. I left it there.
Yeah.
And then she called and said, I don't understand. How can you be? How can you not without mind at all? I said, well, you are, then you manifested mind. So go back where the manifestations came from. That's the just be. That means you got to get rid of the mind.
Yeah. But if you can't do that right now, you are still being as you are right now, which is perfectly fine.
Well, the mind is something has to find itself, that it doesn't really, not a separate thing. It came from the be, and then the being will be appreciated much better. Otherwise, people are caught in the mind operations all the time.
Yes. But if you are caught if you
Yeah,
are caught in the mind operations,
you got to
don't
work.
judge it.
Yeah, don't
Just
judge it.
be
Work
there.
with, work with it, and then the moment you realize that, it drops.
That's right. And it will happen if we can drop the judgment first.
See, that is the difficulty, Martin, because we have only the mind to deal with this.
That's right.
So you got to let the mind turn on itself and examine it.
Yes.
And that is what we need to do. And then we are not all the people are empty space. They have so much furniture in there. So they have to
Hmm.
move one by one. So there is a description for this. Each thought that happens to you, like a soldier, unless you really occupy all the soldiers, you cannot get the fortress. So think less, but even if you think each thought, pursue that where it came from, eliminate that, then you will go like that. So that's
Hmm.
where we kind of have difficulty, because so engulfed by the soldier, he cannot let you go. So
Right.
that's what the modern thinking, where it's supposed to be practical, thought is needed, we make it interior. That's the problem.
Hmm.
Use it for practical purpose. We have to build a house, we need the practical thing. We have to do all the outward things to be orderly, a road, a direction, oh, that's all okay. But when it comes to the interior, the more you have, the less you see yourself, who you are.
That's right.
That's the division. For me to understand that, Took some years, but then once you understand, it was very clear because I'm a physician, right? I have to treat
Oh
my.
yeah.
But then, how come I cannot use my thought? That's so very perplexing to me. And then when I realize it's about outward things we need the thought, but inward things we don't need the thought. Actually, that is the problem.
Right. And just like in this 11, we work with being, that's the
Mm,
thought, but it's
mm,
non-being is what
yes.
we use, right?
Yeah.
Like just like you said, we can
Yeah.
build a house, but if we build a house without any space inside of it,
Yes.
we can't be in that house. It's
Mhm.
just it just looks like a house from the outside.
Yes. The space is there, but then we kind of confined it with a house, but it is already there, So
Right.
is you got to have the practicality of the house, but not thinking you are the house.
That's right. That's right. You are not the thoughts. You are not the house. You are not the thing. You are not the yang of this energy. You are all of it, and the yin is what's driving that consciousness.
Yeah, that's why body and mind are our tools. We, that being, can use those tools whenever we want, but also understand they are not us.
Right.
We are separate from that, and that is very difficult for people to do because they already think they are the body only, or they are the mind, and just repair them. But actually, once you realize they are the tools, it's much easier to maintain them. That's why realized people are the highest health, Martin.
Mm.
Like I am not on any medications. I just finished the 67 years, right now 67. I entered into that, because I understand this movement of thought, where it is needed, where it's not. You can excel outside, but when it comes to interior, it has to be completely silent.
That is how we can be. Thank you so much, Dr. Rao.
Thank you. Bye.
It is such a pleasure to be able to share so many ideas. And as he was saying at the end, 67, no medications. I'm 46. I currently have to take vitamin D because of my MS, but I don't take any medication for my MS. And I contribute all of that to my ability to be. And that doesn't mean there isn't stress in my life. That doesn't mean that everything's, like a cakewalk. But I started reading the Tao, like 2 decades ago. And I'm still sharing it and still learning and still understanding. And I'm still able to be open to learn from people like Dr. Rao. And again, if you don't follow Dr. Rao, definitely follow Dr. Rao. He talks about so many wonderful things. I want everybody to be able to, grow into who you are, grow as you are. I've never wanted any of the people that listen to me or follow me or anything to think a certain way. A lot of people come up to me and say, "Well, you're sober. You think people should be sober?" No, I don't. I don't. And I don't think people should even be clean. Like if you want to use drugs, drugs are a perfectly fine, acceptable answer to some lives at this moment. And that's perfectly all right. I don't want anything for you. I just want you to be you as you are, because that's exactly who you are. And that, like being like that. And this is what we talked about in this 11 with D Grant. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it's the center hole that makes the wagon move. We are like the being is the center, right? Dr. Rao was talking about the mind and the body are tools. Those are the spokes: mind, body, space, time. These are the spokes. We're using these spokes and we have to make a wheel. We got to move. And that is consciousness. And as he mentioned early when we were talking, if you were there for that, I have two people in. Julie's on top. We're going to choose Julie. Nancy, love you. Hopefully you can stick around and chat. Julie, what is up? How are you doing, love?
How are you?
I am well. I am well. This Tao of the day is going swimmingly.
It is, isn't it? And every time I listen, there's something for me. And I
Uh,
know that sounds really selfish, but every time there's something for me. Every time someone joins you, they
I'm
have
going to
something
tell you,
for.
like it's not selfish because I want to, like I thought about this morning. The only, like, we have to like understand that everything that we experience, we're experiencing through our mind. So it's all for us. It's all for
Yay!
us. You exist as you in my life, and I experience you as me, right? Like what I experience in you is actually showing me about myself.
Yeah.
And so when we go out in the world and say, I want this for you, what we're really saying is, I want this for me.
Yeah.
And we
Exactly.
have to be able to recognize that, because I think we fool ourselves into thinking that we're righteous. And
Yeah.
really what's happening is we're I don't want to say selfish, but I want to say we're driving something somewhere, and I think that this selfishness, the selfishness that you're speaking about, or is really a connection, like Dr. Rao was saying, a connection as a part of the whole. You are a cell in a body,
Yeah.
and you are moving that body forward.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love that when I listen, like I said, there's always something that little sparks, it sparks my light.
Yes, I'm
You know?
glad. Like this is something I just love sharing, and this is the most and a tangible, most accessible way I have ever shared the Tao, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. And everyone you speak to, everyone who shares it, they also feed my spark.
Yeah.
Every single person on here has always said something. There's always been something in their conversation or their how they view things or how they feel things. It just sparks in me. It's lovely. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it, you know. And I it's like I'm open for this too, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and it's helping me on my journey. So that's what
Uh,
I'm doing. It's
do you
fun.
did you want to share a number today?
No, I'm just enjoying actually.
Oh, well, wonderful.
But
I am
yeah,
going to. I have a couple people in the queue, so I'm gonna slide you out. I'm gonna switch someone else in, and we're gonna continue.
yeah, let's do it.
Love you, Beer.
Take care.
Good morning, lovely
Nancy.
man. How are
Good
you?
morning, dear. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm jumping in. I'm getting ready for work, and I'm like, I'm jumping in.
Yes, I'm glad I got you. Wait. Let's. We're gonna ride right through the. What number do you got for me? Between 1 and 81.
45.
25?
4-5.
45. 45. 45. Oh, it's on the other side. Okay. Oh, this is perfect for you. I think it just starts beautifully.
Go for
True,
it.
true perfection seems imperfect, yet it is perfectly itself. True fullness seems empty, yet it is fully present. True straightness seems crooked. True wisdom seems foolish. True art seems artless. The master allows things to happen. She shapes events as they come. She steps out of the way and lets the Tao speak for itself.
Okay, can I just say, shut up?
Shut up.
That's so cool. It really is cool. I've been listening to you on my walk and everything this morning, just
Oh,
getting it. I missed part of Catherine's, but that's quite all right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, my internet went, no, you're
Yeah.
walking. You can't have it. I'm like,
And I always like to look at those moments as, well, there was something there I didn't need.
right, exactly. I was like, okay, I'll put music on. I'll be fine.
Yep, yep, yep.
No,
You
but
know?
that's so cool because I've really been I love this. I just honestly love the fact that I asked for and I kept asking for a community like me. And it's like-hearted. I'm not looking for like-minded. I'm looking for like-hearted because
Mm,
the like-hearted allows people to come in with their diversity.
Yes.
And the like-minded, it gets more into I know. I know
Uh,
better than you kind of thing. Not I know, because there is that difference between you and I. So to hear this, what you're saying, yeah, everything's perfectly imperfect.
mhm.
And the world is about diversity. It is about differences. I was thinking about it today. Somebody, we talk about our uniqueness, our superpowers, and somebody said, your special sauce. And I
Mhm.
went, and it fits the person. And I thought, wow, that is so cool, because who are we as people? If we were meant to be perfect, we wouldn't be here at all. We're meant to be imperfect in my mind, to play in the expansion of honoring this universe and the beauty of it,
Yeah.
and allowing it to continue to breathe, continue to flourish. And as we all, most of us know, that's why we're here. That's why we're standing up and using our voices saying, hey, we're here. We're going to do this with you.
That's right. That's
And
right. Yep.
yeah, and when you break that down, go ahead and break it down, because that's what it is. There's no right way.
No, there isn't. And we have for centuries now really been trying to pin down the right way of doing many, many things.
And wait, there is a right way. Y'all been
It's
talking
yours.
about it this morning. It's
Yeah.
called going within.
Yeah. And it's your
And
way. Your
right,
way, no matter what you do, is the right way. No matter
right.
how many people want to tell you it's not. And like I'm in the sober community, and so many people, come out and say, make not drinking normal. And having been sober for 21 years, I look at that and I go, shit's normal. Like, it wasn't normal for you, but it's normal.
Right. And you know what's funny? You say that. And I love that you said that, because people say, Nancy, I've been told in the past, Nancy, you like staying in your comfort zone. And I'm like, how is what I'm going through comfortable when I'm asking you why it doesn't feel good? What is it? And then you just said it. It's called normal zone.
Right.
What is the normality, like you said, with your alcohol? I didn't know that my upbringing, and it wasn't just my family, it was the entire energy of my mom's friends, everything
Yeah.
around us. That was normal. So, but I wasn't happy until I
No.
walked outside, until I walked outside. But I still wasn't internally happy, but I knew I could be me. And that's what I'm going, when you just did that, that's what I'm doing right now, is claiming somebody's been trying to allow me to find me, but at the same time, playfulness is not part of people's concept of creating. That's immature. That people aren't going to hear it, and I'm thinking Martin would,
Yeah.
you know. And my life is about being on the playground. My
Right.
life is about energies. I did get asked, Nancy, what is it that feeds you? And I said, energies. She goes, then go on that. And I went, what? I can do that?
Yeah.
And I know what I mean by that. So why not do that? Because my whole purpose is to help people wake up. Wake up to who they are and the beauty of what this universe is. But in a fun, playful way, because it gets so deep
Yeah. And
and
like,
heavy.
yeah,
Hmm.
and I do that as well. Like, that's a big part of my kind of approach, is just like I don't do it playfully in the direct way that you do. I do it like in a different way, but it's still like, just like this first line says, true perfection seems imperfect, yet it's perfectly itself. And that's what you're going about doing. Like, people are telling you, "Oh, like, go with that." And you look out at the world and you're like, but nobody else is doing it. How do we know this is right? And it's like, because it's coming from you.
That's interesting you say that. Something I'm experiencing. I'm going to share it because I can do that in this community. Because the only person I really want to communicate with you, and if anybody gets something, I'm happy.
Right.
Is the people, because the industry I jumped into many years ago. I went from a I went from a financial planner, totally licensed, to working with energies. That works together, right? It's synergistic. Not. Um, I got out of that anyway. So one of my friends said, "I'm going to start paying you for this because you're really good." Okay. And she started it. Well, I went through a lot, as we all know, and I know I did it to gain, gain, and gain, and it was the only way I knew how to do it. And I've been finding it. Well, the friends that used to support me so well had fallen out, and I didn't understand it. I do now, but I didn't understand. The lady who told me, I'm going to pay you, she was my first paying client, came to me yesterday out of the blue. I haven't talked to her in months. She came to me and said, "Hey, Nancy, I want to offer you something." We started talking, and she said, "Nancy, you have to be playful. There's nothing about you that's not playful. Your energies, don't ever let anybody say that to you." And I said, "But I'm told that people aren't going to hear it." She goes, "The people who can hear it and want it are going to hear it." And I went, "Okay." And I said, "Could you please just start being a coach of some sort?"
Mm.
And and she laughed. She thought it was good. I'm going to try to get her on this app actually. But what you just said is true, because I am doing my best to claim my feet. And the one thing I know is that I'm here for myself to live for the rest of my life unapologetically.
See, and that moves right into this next line. True
Yes.
full seems empty, yet the full, but yet it is fully present. True fullness seems empty, yet it is fully present. Like
Wow.
you are fully right here.
Right. Without the expectation of the result.
Right. And that brings this to a really beautiful place of like, in order, and I like to say in terms of perfection, I'm like, don't let your definition of the word perfection rob you of yours.
Absolutely. Oh,
You
I
know?
so understood that. Yes.
Yeah.
Because
And
you're perfectly imperfect. So how
that's
can
right.
you? Yeah.
Don't sit here and say nobody's perfect and then like chalk up all your mistakes and all of these things and say that they're wrong. They're not wrong. You're perfect right here.
Right. And perfection, I was telling somebody this the other day, and it had to have been yesterday. I told her, I said, because we were playing with words, and I said, the funniest part about this is we have an English language that has definitions if we look them up. It was probably her. And we look them up, and they have a totally different definition and understanding and vibration than how society uses it. And you just said that.
Yeah.
Perfection is not what society has taught us perfection is.
Right.
And that's why we're perfectly imperfect, because that tweaks it. And just so you know, the one of my main superpowers is bringing out the oxymorons in the world, and that is an oxymoron.
Yeah, it's such a crazy, like we have so many of those, right? And then we go into these next three lines, which is true straightness seems crooked, true wisdom seems foolish, true art seems artless. As an artist, I can tell you that when I see really great art, like, and art has not gotten better since the caves of Lascaux. Like the art is just always been amazing. And
Mm.
like when you're in touch, when you're making, it is something that's really special.
And you say that, and my son, when he was a kid, he used to say to me, because we were, alone. I raised him alone, and he used to say to me, I tell him I'm not an artist, because we were talking about art and stuff, because he obviously had something for school. I said, I'm not an artist. I said, so you go, and he's not an artist, but I said, you go do it. And he goes, yes, you are, Mom. I said, no, I'm not. And he says, when you're on the phone, I see you doodling all the time, and you're creating a really beautiful picture. And I'm like, shut up, right? Because
Mhm.
art to me was the beauty of being able to create specific shapes.
Right.
And what I was doing was obviously allowing my hands to flow to create just doodles. And there's a big art society out there who does what I have.
Yeah.
And
And like but you don't even have to look out
mm-mm,
to
mm-mm.
society to say that what you're doing is good.
I know, but what you already said it with Dr. Rao. What I was taught was that it's not that's not productive.
Right, right. And and I always like to, like challenge these things. Like you say you were taught, and I
Uh-huh.
always like to say like, you know what? Yeah, you were taught something, but what's most important is that you learned that. And then you can take responsibility for that rather than just be like, "Oh, I was taught something," because I was taught chemistry, but I never learned it. So it's real important to understand that like it isn't what you were taught, but what you ended up learning.
Very true. And it's just kind of like goes with, the world. I mean, like how I was raised. I was
Right.
taught to make that normal. And what I'm doing is allowing myself to break off the normal, because my friends see me the way that I'm out there and they're like, I didn't know you weren't doing that. I'm like, what? So it's very exciting. It really is.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Is there any more, or was
Yeah,
that it?
we're wrapping up here, and it just says the master allows things to happen. She shapes events as they come. She steps out of the way and lets the Tao speak for itself.
And there it is.
And there it is. There it is. Like allowing things to happen, allowing that which is happening to happen, and let it be perfect right here, imperfectly perfect as it is. She shapes events as they come. As they come, she just allows them to be. And that's where your playfulness really comes in. And I think
Mhm.
people want to control things.
Of
And with
course.
you, like, the playfulness is just, hey, the rules just changed. Now, like Catherine said, hey, there's another loophole. Let's find it and jump through it. Right? And continue playing. And I think
Oh, you
that's,
know what? That's really cool. I like that, because what I picture when you said loophole, and it's not the same image, just so you know, is jumping in. You know how they, like time travel and stuff. I can't think of the movie where you just dive into that vortex and you end up in a different dimension.
yeah.
That's what I saw when you said loophole, because I pictured that. I really wish I could remember that movie, because it was the greatest thing.
Like
And
Contact, that was like,
no, it was a kid who was a scientist, and he figured something out, and they
oh
used
no, I don't
to.
know.
Yeah, no, and it was about remedying certain things, but it was about them finding themselves. I mean, it was 100%. But
Yeah,
but that's what I pictured, because that's what they do with time travel. You go into this vortex and you go into a different place. And I've taken on the energies of being 17 years old, because I know what happened then, and then she just brought me back to when I first really owned who I am.
yeah,
So I'm excited, because I get to share it with people. And she said,
yeah.
"Don't worry about it, Nancy. If somebody can't see you and they try to help you change, like, no, that's not right. Then and they can't communicate with you. Then they aren't there to lead you." And I went, or just be like you and I right now.
Right, yeah, right.
And I went,
Yeah,
I like that. I
yeah.
do. It really resonated. So thank you for this. I appreciate it. I'm staying on, but I really
Oh,
appreciate
babe,
it. You're awesome. I mean,
thank you, Nancy. I
I
agree.
try. No, I am going to be talking today. I have been avoiding, but I had to see what I needed to see yesterday. So I'm going to allow myself to see when and where and what. So have
Yeah,
a good one.
you too, love. And yes, definitely follow your heart and come whenever you can. Christina, Bella has been on for a minute, so I'm going to bring her on, and then I'd love to get to you. Bella doesn't pick numbers. We just talk about things. So this might go pretty short. We'll see. Bella, I love you. I miss you. I hope you're doing well. Are you with me, dear?
Oh,
Hello.
great. You can hear me. I always have
Yes.
internet problems. Oh my God, what conversation
Yes.
you guys are having.
Today has been a blast.
It's really, really nice. I was just thinking, well, how can I add on to what has already been said? And I just don't know where to begin, Martin.
No.
Um, I mean, Nancy's conversation, I was thinking about Surat's painting on pointillism on Bedas Asaniers.
Yes,
You
yes,
know
yes,
the
yes.
painting, and also about the house, because when you're standing close to it, you see all the dots and you don't see the pictures, the bathers, the sea. But when you step away and you just look without focusing, it's such a beautiful painting
Yes.
with all the different pointillism, I believe it's called. I mean, you're the artist among us.
Yes.
So please forgive me, I'm a scientist.
No,
Uh,
pointillism is the layman term. for this. Yeah, it's
Y-
impressionist sort of
Yeah, yeah,
because we
yeah.
get because the concept behind it is we have an impression of something rather than a representation.
Oh, Martin, I love that because I do love the Impressionists. I love them very much. But the way you've explained it has given it much more depth.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm from Chicago, and we love the impressionists here.
you do, and
Yes, yes,
Franklin Lloyd Wright was also from Chicago,
that's
wasn't
right.
he?
Yep, yep,
Ah,
yep.
ah. One day we need to have a room for ourselves, But, but in both cases, they were. It was. How can I say? You were just present.
Yeah,
There was no thinking whether this is perfect, whether it shapes what I think it is. It just is. And I've said this several times. When we put perfection, what we're saying that in the light of our experiences, this is 10 out of 10. But our experiences in the light of grace, God, source, is a minute aspect of what is. So why don't we just accept without saying this is perfect?
yeah. Like I think that we like what you're getting at is when you call something perfect, it's a judgment.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You have put your criteria on that.
Hmm.
Because today I had to go somewhere for an appointment, and the receptionist was just staring at me. And I was like, why is she staring at me? you know, it was a rush to get there, And I said, why she said, is there something with my face? And she said, oh, I feel embarrassed, but I'll say it. She said, oh, you're so pretty. You got a nice smile. And I was thinking, how can I have a nice smile when my teeth come out of it?
Hmm.
you know? But I said to her, why? And she said, oh, I'm from Serbia and we don't see many people like you. Can you see what I mean?
Yeah.
She was seeing me as different from what she normally thought was perfect. So in that imperfection, she saw beauty.
I do portraits. I don't know if you're aware of that. I think you might be.
No.
Yeah, so I've been doing portraits since 2000 as part of my art practice, but now it is part of my healing practice. When I see a client, the first thing we do is a portrait. I
Wow.
paint a portrait of them. And the whole point of the portrait is to, of course, have intimate experience because getting your portrait painted is an intimate experience, but I'm going to say that those things that make you the most beautiful are the things that you think are different or are the things that make you less attractive. And those are the things that bring beauty. Like, and I have looked at people and I did a portrait of someone and they left a testimonial that like initially I looked at this and I was shocked at all of the things that I didn't like about myself because all the things I didn't like about myself seemed exaggerated in the portrait. But after a couple days, I realized the beauty that was here and was able to grow into it because they were able to see the judgment that they hold on themselves or over themselves every minute of every day.
Oh, Martin, that is so beautifully put. And I'm glad you told me another another of your strings you have to your elbow, because I'm going to remember that. Perhaps one day we'll do a workshop together, because
Yeah.
it's so important for people to realize, it's, as you said, it's the imperfections that make you beautiful. Because when something is the same, then almost take it for granted. And I was listening to something yesterday, And it said, God does not make mistakes, because if you think something about you is a mistake, then what you're saying is source, that greater power, consciousness, whatever it is you call it, doesn't know what they're doing. But of course they know what they're doing because they're in everything.
I always ask, it's funny. I dated an evangelist Christian for a time, and I was at their home, and one of their parents was talking about how it's so wrong that this child had died at such a young age, and they were like, how can you be okay with this and all of these, and I was just, and I'm not religiously oriented, but
Mhm.
I asked her, I was just like, do you think God makes mistakes? She was like, no,
Oh,
of course not. And I was just like, well, then this isn't a mistake.
yes.
It's like
Yeah.
you are here now. Now this is literally how you challenge your faith. Like, you want to talk to me about how I'm not Christian, but at least I trust that this thing that happened for the best. And yes, it hurts. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt, but it happened because it happened, and there's nothing we can do about that. And so sitting here telling God he's wrong, or saying how could this be, and not taking into consideration the fact that what you're asking is against actually everything that you believe in, or everything you say you believe in.
This is why always go back, and it's also about being present. Is what my parents encouraged us to explore. I mean, they were of the Christian faith, and I thank them for giving the gift. But we
Mm.
would. Um, my brother is a Muslim. I mean, they didn't say you have to do that. It was
Yes.
how do you. There's this quote which says, "Religion tells you what to do. Spirituality, you do what's right no matter what."
Hmm.
So it's the spiritual aspect that one should focus on. No, I sound very dumb. It's the spiritual aspect that is important. It's not the label of the of the religion, and this is why I always try and listen.
You went on mute. Was that on purpose? You got a call? I am going to. Oh, wait. Are you back on somewhere else? Oh, I'm going to see if this.
Sorry, Martin. I'll just be short. So, Christina,
Okay, yeah.
no, I don't know what happened. You guys know I have internet problems. I don't know
Yes,
why,
yes.
but all I just wanted to say is that we have the divine inside of us. Call it what you want, source and
Yeah.
everything. And when we connect to that, we realize that everything is just as it should be. When we connect with our senses, then we can only judge in the light of our experiences. And when we realize that, the striving in our lives become less, because everything is just, it's just is. It's perfect.
It's
And
perfect as it is.
exactly.
Just like
Exactly.
your smile.
Well, mind you, I always laugh when I'm embarrassed because she just kept staring at me, and
Yes.
I'm like, stop staring. Well, I couldn't say that, but you know what? I'm just so grateful to Grace for all he has given to me. And Martin, I'm just so grateful for you being here and sharing more and more about yourself. And soon we'll get together and do something together.
Well, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, and the interview is still going to come up, so we've not forgotten.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to my dark retreat, and we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Anyway, Martin, keeps shining the light, and you've got Christina coming up. She's always making
Yes.
me laugh and getting me to a higher vibration. So, um,
Oh,
yeah,
we'll
look
do
forward
our
to
best.
Yes. Take care, my darling.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye bye. bringing up Christina. Oh, Christina. I think we shared one Tao in the past, and it was beautiful. Almost made me cry. So let's see what we can do this time. Not that we're making expectations or anything. Uh-oh, she dropped off. Yes, I did ask her to wait a little long. I do understand. And this talk's been going on for quite some time. I love you guys. You guys are the best. I am really appreciative of your love in the emoji world. Your love on the Tao of the Day, and you sharing with me so much appreciation and everybody that was on. Bella, Nancy, Julie, Lois, D. Grant, Catherine, and way back when we started, Nafisa and Dr. Rao. Man, so many people joined and so much. Oh, Christina came back. Oh, yeah. Like, that's what we want to talk about. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. I know I was asking quite a bit to wait that long, but I really appreciate you.
Oh, God. To listen to Bella and getting all funny about her beautiful smile. Bella, you are beautiful inside and out, my friend. You
Yes, ma'am.
drive me
Yes, ma'am.
crazy.